Good day, my friends. Welcome back to our lecture room. Today, we're going to be discussing cell organelles and function. Like I promised you in the last lesson lecture, we had some cell organelles, and I promised that we're going to look at the functions this time. Okay. So remember, as we recapped last time, we looked at different cells giving us tissues. Cells of similar functions give us tissues. Cells of similar tissues give us organs. Cells of similar organs give us a system. And finally, it gave us what? The organism. So today we're going to look at the learning objective for today. Um, at the end of the lesson or lecture, we're going to have know the names of these organelles. We're going to know the organelles in the plants. We're also going to know the organelles in the animals, and we're able to mention their functions. All right, let's move on. First of all, look at the plant. Now, this is a typical plant cell. Has endoplasmic reticulum nucleolus, has a peroxisome, it has a ribosome, it has amyloblast, it has cytoplasm, has a cell wall, and it has a mitochondria, which and it has the cell membrane, has a very large vacuole, and it has a chloroplast, which is specific to them, and the Golgi bodies. These are some of the organelles that are found in the plants. Now let's look at the plant animal cell. They have the cell membrane, the Golgi bodies, have the centrosome, vacuole, mitochondrion, and the nucleus, smooth endoplasmic reticulum, the rough endoplasmic reticulum, ribosome, nucleolus, nuclear membrane, lysosome, and then cytoplasm. So these are just very few among the all the organelles. So what we're going to be doing now is to begin to mention these organelles and try to note the functions. Kindly find how to tag the function to each of the organelles. Very important. All right, so we'll start with the nucleolus. Now, this nucleolus is the site for ribosome synthesis. So, the ribosome of the cell is synthesized in what? The nucleolus. It also controls cellular activities and the reproduction. Okay, so now the next one is the nucleus, which generates genetic information. This is where the genetic information are stored. Okay, now the next one is the nuclear membrane. All of them are related. So membrane is just the covering of the nucleus. Okay, it protects the nucleus by forming a boundary between the nucleus and other cell organs. The next, inside the nucleus, we still have the chromosomes. So all these ones are inside the nuclear membrane. The chromosome is where the genetic materials are seen. It is this chromosome that determines the sex of an individual. If you are going to be, if you have XX in this chromosome, we'll have a female. When we have XY, we'll have the male. We'll do more of that in our future lectures. The next set of organelles are the cytoplasm. The cytoplasm is the liquid part of the cell. Okay, it contains other cell organelles. So then we have the smooth endoplasmic reticulum. What is the function? It detoxifies the cell and metabolizes carbohydrate and lipids. While the rough endoplasmic reticulum, the only thing that makes the difference there is the ribosome that makes dots around them, which gives it the raw of nature. What does it do? It protects, it makes a protein for the endomembrane systems. Now, the ribosome, which are those dots, are for protein synthesis. Remember, they are produced in the nucleus. Golgi bodies, some textbooks call them Golgi apparatus. It is involved in the transportation of materials within the cell. Now, the next set of organelles starts with the mitochondria. This mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell. Okay, it produces the ATP, the glucose you take is eventually split down during glycolysis and Krebs cycle into ATP for the cell use. Okay, the lysosome is like the sanitation officer of the cell. What does it do? It removes waste and engulfs unwanted materials from the cell. Now, the vacuole, remember in the plant we saw large vacuole. The vacuole of the cell, what does it do? It stores water and nutrients. Then we have the uh, peroxisome. What does it do? It regulates biochemical pathways and involves oxidation. Now, chloroplast, which is specific to the plants, it contains the pigment called the chlorophyll for photosynthesis. Do not forget that the plants manufacture their own food, they are autotrophs. Okay, so this is possible because of the presence of these chloroplasts. The next set of organelles, which is our last, starts with the cell membrane. The cell membrane is the thin barrier that separates the cell from its environment. Then cell wall in the plant, it is a cellulose cell wall. It is usually rigid, very strong, and gives the plant the turgidity it has because of a large vacuole with the balance of the cell wall. So it gives a rigid barrier that protects the cell. We also have the vesicle. What does it do? It transports materials around the cell. They also have the cystosol, which is a gel-like matrix that holds water and nutrients. And finally, we have the cytoskeleton. What is this function? It provides structure, support, and transportation. So these are, in conclusion, all the organelles that we briefly mentioned. Okay, when we read more, we're going to see how these functions interact and interwove with one another and what makes the cell function the way they do. Thank you for being part of this lesson. See you soon. Bye bye.